What we got here in the GOP primary went down to 2. We are just one day away from the high-stakes Republican primary in New Hampshire. All eyes on Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. They are the last 2 candidates standing after a massive shakeup in the race. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropping out and endorsing the former president.
It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge.
So who is going to come out on top tomorrow? The latest polls from New Hampshire show Trump is ahead by nearly 20 points. The former president getting 57% of the vote when compared to 38% Nikki Haley gets. And here's President Trump sounding off on the race.
Somebody said, what are you going to do with the name DeSanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired as of this moment. We are retiring that name.
So that's water under the bridge now.
Totally. As far as I'm concerned, look, he endorsed me. I would say that with Nikki, I haven't done anything. I'm very upset with her. She said I would never run. He was a great president. She worked for me like for 2.5 years. And she was okay. Not great. She was okay. But she said to everybody, in fact, when she left, I would never run against the president.
And Nikki Haley might be banking on some Democrats and independents to save the day. According to a new report from Politico, they say that a handful of left-leaning groups have popped up across New Hampshire with the goal of persuading the state's undeclared voters, who make up 42% of the voting population and are eligible to vote in either party's primary, to back Haley. The former South Carolina governor hitting the trail hard, ramping up her attacks on Trump.
It is a fact that you decline over time. It is a fact that you slow down. And what I'm saying is the country is in disarray. The world is on fire. We need somebody who's going to be at the top of their game.
You've got Donald Trump in a courtroom today, and you've got him and Joe Biden giving us more of the same. They are both talking about grievances of the past, vendettas, and their investigations. We need a new generational conservative leader that's going to be focused on how we're going to get America back on track for our kids.
Jesse Waters here in New Hampshire with me, and then our great crew there in New York. So it's going to be a good 5. Jesse, let me start with you. Nikki Haley had said for a long time she wanted to get this to a 2-person race. She did that. Is it in time for her to make a big dent tomorrow night?
Oh, I just want to know what Gutfeld's wearing.
In a shacket?
He looks like he's in New Hampshire and I'm in Manhattan.
I found it in your closet.
Stay out of my closet, Gutfeld. It's just so different to see these two men. Biden, you have, if you cross him, he'll indict you or deny you Secret Service protection. But if you cross Trump, it's about honor. And he lives by a different code, where if he does something for you and you are perceived as disloyal, perhaps you've been appointed to a cabinet position or been endorsed and gotten the gubernatorialship because of his endorsement, you're not allowed to run against him. And so then you'll get a nickname. But all of a sudden, if you drop out and endorse, and the nickname's over. And I would assume, and you know, Jessica, that I never make predictions anymore. But just for the sake of argument, if Nikki does not win and eventually does have to suspend and endorse, I'm sure Bird Brain will be retired and everything can come together and we can get it together. That's not a book plug. They just happened to say that. But this is barbaric, this politics stuff. And Nikki also has to be careful because she can't be too vicious and savagely attack the president as being mentally incapacitated. Just the way Democrats wouldn't do that to Joe Biden or go after Hunter, because you don't want to hand the other side too much ammo where you wound them so drastically that they end up limping into the general. So I'm not telling her how to run her campaign, but I am. So she just has to calculate what's best for her and see over the horizon and see what's good for the party as a whole long term.
Judge Janine, what's on your mind today?
Well, you know, I think it's interesting that Nikki Haley comes out and she says, you know, we need someone who's really on top of their game, when she was the one who was asked what was the cause of the Civil War, and she floundered that so badly. I mean, a third grader could have answered it better than she did. And, you know, she may have a false sense of confidence now, given that the New Hampshire primary involves independent voters who make up 40% of the electorate, and they can vote for either major party candidate. So it's in their interest to vote for Nikki so that Trump doesn't look as strong, because Trump really is the one that they don't want to run against. And, you know, she can drag out Judge Judy, but there are other judges who don't think she's necessarily the best candidate. But having said all that, I think Nikki's days are coming to an end. If Trump beats her in double digits, then she's out of New Hampshire because she goes to South Carolina. She can't even win in her own state where she was the governor. You've got Tim Scott, the senator. You've got Nancy Mace. You've got the governor now, the lieutenant governor. Everyone in South Carolina is supporting Donald Trump. So she can talk about how this is a two-person race when it was a three-person race. But the truth is that I don't think she's got a lot of support going forward. I do want to mention one thing about Donald Trump. And I was very impressed the way he handled Ron DeSantis stepping out of the race. You know, it was almost like, for all the noise, it was a whisper. DeSantis just kind of left. And I thought Trump was very nice to him. But more importantly, I was impressed with the fact that Donald Trump, former President Trump, talked about Casey DeSantis. And he gave her kudos. He said she worked very hard. She's a lovely woman. And I mean, I kind of like that, you know, let's come together, all of us. And let's just say this. If he gets to 60, it's over for her. She's out. She's gone.
Gutfeld, in the shacket, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Jessica on a successful transition.
Did you call me Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he was talking about Jessica, who's somewhere in here.
Yeah, I saw her earlier.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right. You know, I want to look. I want to look back at at Ron DeSantis, because I think, you know, even though the campaign wasn't the best, he actually did a great job and he did a great service. He basically stress tested Trump and removed the what ifs from 2024. You know, you have the never Trumpers and the naysayers who said, you know, if only we had a competent alternative, right? If we have a normal candidate, you know, as an option to Trump, all we want is an alternative to Trump. Well, you got it. You got the best damn governor in the country, and it didn't make a dent. And it is pretty impressive. DeSantis just reeks of competence. He succeeds wherever he goes. And yet it still didn't happen. And it's because it's probably not the right time for him. And it's the right time, again, for Trump. It feels inevitable. And despite all the obstacles of the media and the lawfare and the competitors, Trump's still like breezing to the finish line. I have a metaphor. So many people are pushing electric vehicles on the American public, but the American public still prefers the gas guzzler. Doesn't make the EVs bad. It just means that the EVs, this isn't their time yet. And so Trump is basically, he's like a red, white, and blue 10-ton big rig blaring Freebird as it rolls over every woke Prius in its path. You know, DeSantis is just a great car, but he'll be needed later, just not right now.
I like the metaphor very much.
Yeah,
Harold Ford
they all
Jr., your political analysis says we're down to 2 candidates in New Hampshire. The last time we were here, there were so many in 2016. I think there are still 8 left in the race.
There's no doubt about it. Good to be back around the table, even in this table we got going here today. A couple of things. New Hampshire has been a place where you get surprises sometimes. I mean, Danny, you recall, I think we talked about it a week or so ago, McCain beat W in New Hampshire after W had won Iowa. Hart beat Mondale, Hillary Clinton beat Obama, and even Trump back in 2016 beat Cruz after Cruz had won Iowa. So you don't quite know, and it'd be interesting to see. They have those rules up there where Democrats can vote in Republican primaries and vice versa. So we'll see what happens. But the polling data has been pretty consistent and been pretty accurate. And it looks like the president at 15, or former president, 15, 20 points ahead is interesting. And it looks like he may hold it. I slightly differ with Greg on the DeSantis in this regard. I don't disagree with his competence. I don't disagree with the fact that I would have campaigned differently. He's making faces at me. I would have campaigned differently if I were him. But for whatever reason, it didn't work. And you have to wonder if in 4 years it will work. Maybe it will. Maybe the car analogy is the exact right one. But he reminds me of you know, we have these candidates every 4 years. And most of the time on the Republican side, we had Scott Walker a year when he was supposed to be unbeatable or invincible. And it didn't happen. Donald Trump, whatever you want to say about him, Democrat or Republican, is one of the best political athletes that we've seen in any era. And he has shown that again. I come back to how he was so conciliatory and magnanimous the night he won in Iowa. The question came out again as we watched DeSantis get out the race. And I thought DeSantis' exit from the race, his speech was the best speech I'd heard him give during the campaign. And campaigns are funny. You can want to go on, but if you can't raise money or you think you're going to be threatened or imperil your chances to raise money going forward, you get out of these races. We're about to, I think, come tomorrow night, see the beginning of the longest presidential campaign in the history of the country, because I think President Trump will win tomorrow.
Harold, can I ask you something real quick?
Sure.
Before we go to break, what is Wall Street thinking right now about these two candidates, Biden and Trump?
Well, I read in, I can't speak for all of them, but I saw where Nikki Haley still has a fundraiser planned by some of the great minds on the street and some of the great financiers, I think early next week. But if she doesn't do well, I think you're going to hear there's going to be a lot of pressure for her to do what DeSantis did, which is to get out.
Dana, can I ask you a question? What's the thinking on Sesame Street?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't able to go there today, but I'm really looking forward to it tomorrow.
Okay.
Greg, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What's the thinking on Brokeback Mountain?
Oh, Jesse.
What do you mean we gotta go? I think we should keep it going. Anyway.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.